We've got one more speaker for you this evening, a first-hand account from a member of our Phoenix program. And we're honored to have Rayshun Holt with us tonight. When I first met Rayshun, I remember being so impressed with his poise, his intelligence, and his genuine spirit. I saw incredible potential in him, and yet I also saw the challenging path ahead of him because of his record. But Rayshun's dogged persistence and his patience with the journey and his openness to helping hands along the way from Cincinnati Works and from others has changed his trajectory. I'm so inspired to see what Rayshun has achieved so far, and I have incredible hope for what the future holds for you, Rayshun. So please welcome Rayshun Holt.
Hello, how's everybody doing today? Thank you for such a warm introduction. My story is it's a little different, but in the same light is typical. I come from the inner city of Cincinnati, the Evanston area to be exact. Born and raised up until the time I was 15 years old. I was afforded the opportunity to go to some of the best schools in the city of Cincinnati, elementary school at Summit, junior high, Walnut Hills High School. I was exposed to the opportunity to fulfill my potential. Well, I chose to not do that. Instead, I chose to succumb to the pressures of my environment, and I made a conscious decision to start living a life of crime. It consisted of a lot of stuff. Everything. If it involved drugs, I was a part of it. If it involved drugs, I was a part of it. Gang life, gun violence, you name it, I was a willing participant. At the age of 15, I guess I thought I had it all figured out until I made a very crucial mistake, and then the system showed me that I didn't have it all figured out. Consequently, I was sentenced to an extremely lengthy prison sentence after being tried as an adult, and 21 years later, I was released. About 10 to 11 years into my prison sentence, I made a conscious decision that I would change my life. Early on in the prison sentence, I was still the same person, the same 15-year-old delinquent that I was when I had left the street, involved and engaging in all the corrupt prison activity that there was to be involved in, until one day I just realized that it wasn't the way. And that inevitably, one day that prison sentence would come to an end, if I was lucky, and then I would have to come back out into society and prove myself that I was able to conform and to adjust to a civilized life out here in the civilized world. I started going to school, but the most important part was I made a decision that I didn't want young people to make the same mistakes that I had made. So inside the prison walls, I began to find myself again. Most importantly, I recovered my faith. I got everything, so I thought, together. 10 years passed, the parole board said that they, after reviewing my file and after talking to me, that they felt like that I was ready to return to society. So here I come back out into society. I got a plan now. So I thought, what I what I didn't realize is that a person just simply doesn't know what they don't know. So I came home and I started reaching out to people, trying to find a means of employment. I had amassed a couple of college certificates while I was locked up, and I thought that I would be able to come home. Hey, I got a college degree. Yeah, well, you got a pretty serious offense on your record too. And a lot of people weren't willing to take the chance of giving me a chance. And I actually understood that. I understood the stigma attached to gun violence and the stigmas attached to people that chose to live their life in a very unsavory way. So I ended up finding Cincinnati Works. A friend of mine, she had been a childhood friend of mine. She had, unfortunately, lost a brother to gun violence about maybe a year before I came home. Mr. Mitch Morris right there and the Phoenix Program came to the aid of their family and was there by them every step of the way after they went through that trying time of burying a loved one and all the grieving that came along with that. So she knew that I wanted a job, but she knew more importantly that I wanted the opportunity to try to give back to society and to try to curb the possibility of any other young men or women making the mistakes that I had made. So she introduced me to Mitch Morris, and there goes Cincinnati Works. So I go down there, I meet everybody, Peggy, Karen, Mitch, the whole Cincinnati Works family, as I like to call it. And they seen that I was sincere about what I wanted to do, and that's when I joined the Phoenix Project. So I don't know if everybody in here is aware of what we do at the Phoenix Project. But we put boots to the streets. We get out there several times a week, or even more often as necessary. If an act of violence occurs in a neighborhood, most importantly, we try to get in front of it, but sometimes things move at a real fast pace in this city, and sometimes we're just a tad bit late, but we get there. Don't we get there, Mitch? Yeah. And so we get out there, and we try to be a bridge between the community and law enforcement. We often try to be, and more importantly, we try, also equally as important, we try to be a bridge between the people and employment. And at the same time, when we're consoling the people who are trying to calm down the community, we also do spread the word about the opportunities that's available for them at Cincinnati Works. So I got involved with the Phoenix Project pretty heavy. At the same time, it was imperative. I still don't have a job. So I went through the program in the Cincinnati Works. And through that program, I was able to finally find somebody that was willing to take a chance on me. And it was a very humbling experience, nonetheless. It wasn't the job that I imagined with my college degree. I didn't think, you couldn't have told me when I was sitting in prison that I would come home with this certification or this education or with this drive and end up working at a fast food restaurant. But that's where I went, and to this day, I'm extremely grateful for that opportunity. That inevitably opened up the door for other employers to be willing to take a chance on me, because I came there every day. When I first came home, 21 years, I came back to Cincinnati, it was like being in a foreign land. It was things that I had never seen before. There was no Paul Brown, it was Riverfront Coliseum. Washington Park was the slum. when I went away. There was no such thing as a lot of things that exist right now. And I came and I had to navigate my way. Just catching a bus was a struggle. Because realistically, half the time I got on the bus and I didn't even know where I was going. Thank God for GPS, it saved my life. So time went on, I got more acclimated to the city, but I remained patient. I understood that I had put myself behind the 8 ball, so to speak. I started to acknowledge just how heavy my baggage was and just how much of a barrier that it would be to me. And I understood that it was gonna take a little bit more than what I thought it was gonna take in order to get to where I needed to go. And at that point, I just got into a zone and told myself it was gonna be patience, 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 perseverance, perseverance, perseverance. That was the only thing that was gonna get me over the hump. So one job led to another job, but at the same time, I'm finding most of my fulfillment with the Phoenix Project and the work that we're doing in the streets. So I went from working in a fast food restaurant to Cincinnati Works, seeing another opportunity that suited me with the city of Cincinnati. I was able to get a job with the city. It raised my income a little bit more than what it had been. Still doing my work at the Phoenix, and we can't never forget that, because that's where, in the streets is where it all starts at. And for me, that's where I find my most fulfillment at, when I'm helping giving back there. It gave me an opportunity to do a little bit of talking here and there. We went to a few high schools. UC, I got to talk to a few people. Then it was at a luncheon at Cincinnati Works, where I got to meet Mr. Rob Daly. Is he in here still? He's still in here.
Right here.
There you go. Rob seen something in me, and he made a connection with me through Cincinnati Works. And we met, the sales corner, wasn't it? And after a long conversation, he was able to show me something that I had yet been able to recognize. All the time I had been looking for a job. And after I got the first job, I had started getting jobs. But what I didn't realize is that I probably should have been trying to find my way into a career. And through his guidance, and more importantly, through his friendship, I was able to start doing some networking. That networking eventually, after several different channels and meeting some amazing people, so probably some of the finest people the city of Cincinnati has to offer, it eventually led me to my family over there in Nehemiah. It just so happened to be at the time that I met Miss Dana Marita and Richard Palmer, who isn't here right now, that they had an opening available for a second shift supervisor. I didn't know a whole lot about the manufacturing business. As a matter of fact, my boss, Mike Pacho, right there might say I still don't know a lot. But what they did acknowledge and recognize is they seen the ability for me to catch on, get a good feel for what's going on in production, and almost equally, if not more important, considering the fact that we hire second chance offenders, they recognized that I would have the ability to connect with them people and to be able to not only supervise them on the job, but possibly help guide them in life. And It was almost like being at the Phoenix with Mitch. Only difference is I get a check. But great company, great people. It's real. It's truly a blessing to be a part of what's going on in Nehemiah. Every day I get the opportunity to talk to people that's in situations either similar to mine or different than mine, but still with certain problems and issues. And it's almost, I walk away from there at nighttime. When I go home at night, I walk away from there feeling accomplished. But the most important part about the story is that the story isn't finished yet. So even though my time is occupied with my job at Nehemiah, it's a pretty demanding position. We're going through a very big transition right now, so that's the main focus. And but I still try to reach out to my Cincinnati Works family as often as possible, keep those ties there, because there's still a whole lot of work in these streets that need to be done. Just driving down the street at any given moment, poverty is right there in front of your face. You turn on the news, violence is right there in your face. My mother still lives in the Evanston area and still hears gunshots while she's sitting in her living room. Still peeks out the curtain to make sure that none of her property got damaged again. So we got a lot of work still to do, but the good thing is that the work has already begun, and that we got a room full of people right here that's on par with making sure that we accomplish these goals. So I'm not gonna hold y'all up any much longer. I just wanna say thank you to everybody.
So does that inspire us